for tuning in to another Dynamic Joint podcast episode. I am your physical therapist and yours truly, Dr. Tyre.
And I am Dr. Angie, the amazing one. I'm the physical and occupational therapist.
She always got to try to one-up
somebody.
Well,
you said your. I can't go, well, I'm actually yours.
I mean, you can cop my style if you want to.
Okay.
Let's do it again. Okay. Thank you for tuning in to another Dynamic Joint podcast. I am yours truly, your favorite physical therapist, Dr. Tyre.
Thank you, Dr. Tyre, for reintroducing yourself. But I'm going to say the same thing. I am your amazing Dr. Angie, physical and occupational therapist, here to save the day, fill in any gaps that Dr. Tyre leaves open. I feel like that's enough.
I think that's good.
I got a little aggressive.
You did.
I leaned forward and I was talking my hand.
You did. But we are the owners of Dynamic Duo PT, an outpatient physical and occupational therapy clinic located in West Palm Beach, Florida. So, today's topic of discussion.
I wish I'd have known very well.
It's very important.
Super important.
So, it's talking about how you gonna pay for school. Let's just. I was trying to make it pretty,
right?
But I'm not. How you gonna pay for it? What you gonna do?
Right.
How you gonna survive?
Because I'm the first one in my family to actually go to college, and I didn't have an idea. The first undergrad was good because there was a whole bunch of scholarships for that, so I just got right on through the process. But grad school, that was another beast.
Because that was private.
Private. Well, no. I ended up getting federal loans, but that was like on the grace of God because I think 2 weeks before the semester started, they said they would get federal money.
That's true.
So I got in without having to use private loans because nobody in my family had good enough credit to actually get me a private loan.
Well, I had private loans.
Must be nice to come from a good family. A wholesome.
Because I had private loans from undergrad that I had to get more private loans for grad school. So
that adds up.
It does.
And that's one of the downfalls, I think, with grad school. There aren't really scholarships and grant opportunities for grad school. And something like physical therapy, you have to go on beyond your normal undergrad schooling to become a therapist. And that means the only option for people like me would be student loans. But
I think, so when we were going to school, yes. I think now, though, it's more opportunities for graduate type of scholarships and grants because a lot of us have made an uproar about, well, why didn't we get the opportunity?
Right.
Why didn't we not get the option of having grants and scholarships in a graduate program? Because if not, or if we did have that option, we wouldn't be having six figures when it comes to student loans.
And I think that was one. I wish I'd have known more about this topic when I started school because everyone always said, oh, don't get student loans, you're going to pay it off for the rest of your life. But they never explained what that actually meant.
Exactly.
I understand now. Because I am going to be paying them for the rest of my life.
Well, we're not going to claim that, but it's just...
but on theory, and I'm okay with it because with those loans, I did what I was supposed to do. I graduated and I'm working in my field that I love.
Right.
So if I have to pay these loans for the rest of my life, I don't want to do it happily, but I will because I actually enjoy what I do. And there's no way for me to have gotten here without those loans.
So then what's the difference between scholarships and or grants versus student loans?
So that scholarships, grants, that's free money, so to speak, right? It's the money that I don't have to pay back, especially if I do what I'm supposed to do with it. Whereas loans, whether I finish, because there's a lot of people we talked about in previous episodes where that first semester was really hard and a lot of people didn't make it past it, yet they still have to pay those loans even though they didn't finish the program. I finished the program, I still have to pay them back. The loans come with stipulations like in the rate of interest, right? Some of it's really high, some are really low, some changes, and you can talk more about that. of just understanding. No one explained it to me.
Mm-hmm.
They actually allowed me to take out the max amount.
Mm.
And because I don't come from money and I did not have a good financial understanding with money. I use that money to go on trips
Mm-hmm.
because the financial aid advisor said, here, you can take it all out. Let's max it out every semester.
Yeah.
Which then causes my end to be paid back 10 times fold.
So talking a little bit about fixed and variable interest rates. And the reason why I can talk more about that is because I have student loans that have a fixed interest rate, and then I also have student loans that have variable interest rates. And if you can avoid those kind of student loans that have variable interest rates, I plead with you to do so, because what happens is it goes along the market. So if interest rates are low, then good. They may lower their interest rates. If interest rates just in general are high, they're going to increase the interest rates, and whatever that is, that's the amount of interest that is going to be tacked onto your principal. And so I have one particular student loan that I can think of at this moment that have a variable interest rate, and I took out only $30,000 only back in 2008.
That was a long time ago.
Very much so. And I am still paying on that to this day because of fluctuations of interest rates, right? So please read the fine print. Don't take what they're saying as face value.
Right.
Do your research, because you are going to be the one that's going to have to repay it back when it is that time.
Right.
Now, not only did I wish I knew the difference between fixed and variable, but how soon should you pay back your student loan?
Right.
If you can pay back $20 as soon as you get your student loans, it is going to help you in the long run, because then once you're done with school, you have less to pay back versus deferring it while you're in school and now having this large pot of money that you have to pay back.
Right.
And again, I think people have this misconception of, does my interest rate still accrue if my student loans are on deferment? What happens? What doesn't happen? Things of that nature. You have to keep in mind your student loan, the company that lended you the money is a business.
Right.
They are going to want their return of investment. So it may look like they're not tacking on interest rates in the beginning during that deferred time frame, but it is going to tack on some form of fashion throughout the lifespan of your student loan. So again, just do your due diligence in researching these student loans, because it is going to make a world of difference when it's time for you to graduate and time for you to be in your career. Because you don't want to have this black cloud. I think I was reading something, or maybe I was hearing it on the radio. I can't remember, but they were saying that there are millions of Americans that have student loans that feel like they have a black cloud over them because of the stress of student loans. Not only is student loans a stressor, but so is life.
Right.
And how can you enjoy your life if you have this black cloud, this black glooming cloud over you regarding student loans?
Right. I remember when I was just graduated and I had been hearing all these stories about how these medical doctors, they sacrificed for the first 2 or 3 years. They were homeless. They lived in their car. They only ate noodles. And, they were on the very basic necessities for life. That's all they had. Basic stuff. And they paid off their student loans within the first 2 or 3 years of them working. Here I am, just out of PT school, thinking, you know what? I'm going to do my best to pay it back. My first payment that was due was $2,200. That is just for my student loans, the very first one. So for the first 6 months, I'm paying it back, not to forget that I still have my rent that I have to pay. I have a car payment. I have car insurance. I have my other bills. I still have to eat.
And
right?
you have to clothe yourself. You can't walk around here naked.
Right. That's a felony. No, I can't do these things, right? I can't get in trouble with my other stuff, but I still have to pay this because I got to pay my student loans down.
Because you want to maintain good credit.
Right. And then to realize about how much life I was missing out on. I was supposed to be celebrating and enjoying this new chapter of life of being in my career, but I can't because now I have to pick up 2 or 3 jobs to make sure that I can meet all my bills. Think about Black Cloud. I was in it. And then my mom told me something.
A wise woman.
Well, I don't know if it was wise per se.
She's a wise woman.
But these loans are going to be around for a while. So why are you stressing yourself out right now? And I think that's where my personality, me being in that gray zone, actually helped me out. Because you're like, you know what, you're right. I shouldn't have to not enjoy my life, i.e. if my friends are going on a vacation, why can't I go with them too? I'm working 2 or 3 jobs. It's not like I'm just sitting around not doing anything. I'm killing myself for a student loan repayment plan. And then I realized I can do this. I can manage my life so that I am able to pay partially my student loan. Let me get on this income-driven repayment plan.
Yeah.
Let them look at what I make a year, which at that time, a new grad's not making a lot of money.
Not at all.
But my student loan was a lot of money.
Yes, it was.
And we can get down to nitty gritty in that too. Normally, what a new grad makes maybe $60,000, $70,000 a year.
Not here in Florida. Here in Florida, you are lucky to make, if that, maybe around $55,000 a year.
Right, and that's because it's an oversaturated population,
Absolutely.
right? So everybody's competing for the same job. Whoever takes the least amount is going to get the job.
Absolutely.
Right, but then you get burnout. So you're working all these crazy hours and you're doing all these things that your heart was in, but you still financially have to survive.
Right. Do I consolidate my student loan? Do I not consolidate my student loan? So some of those key questions that I have to ask myself is, if I consolidate my loans, is that going to have me pay back the student loan even longer? Yes, it's going to shorten or lessen my amount of money that I pay per month, but the longevity or the length of the loan may be longer. So it's just this back and forth kind of a struggle for me of, do I consolidate? Do I not?
Right. And there's this thing that I know teachers get, and there may be some nurses that get this about their loans being forgiven.
Oh, that would be
right?
awesome.
Public service workers, that they get some of their loans. Not people that work for nonprofits, but us as therapists, mind you, we were considered during the pandemic as a first responder type of health employee. Our job was to get the people from the ER. So if there was something that we could manage pain-wise, or if they sprained something that the therapy world could actually help, then there was no need for them to go to the ER, which allowed the ER to manage somebody who may have had COVID. We still don't get any credit.
Right.
We still don't get a break. And then that makes our life even harder because we're considered top, right? You know, you have the doctors. The doctors are going to send their clients to you for you to diagnose sometimes. And yet we don't get some of those same privileges. Insurances want to cut their money, which means that our pay gets cut and it won't increase because insurances are doing worse for us now. We're doing all this work, and yet there's like no light at the end of the tunnel.
Right. And so, again, that piggies back off of what we talked about in our previous session, was having a heart for people. Right. Are we in this for the money, or are we in this for people?
Right.
And we are in it for people, because these student loans that I have, let me just tell y'all, let me just lay it out. The amount that I have to pay back, I can build a house. I would say a 3 to 5 bedroom house with a 3 to 4 bathroom and a pool in the back.
That'd be a nice house.
On land. Yes, it would have been a nice house. But that's how much student loans that I have to pay back. Right? So it's just, don't take out only what you need.
I agree.
Do not max out the amount that is being offered to you based off of your credit score sometimes, right? Take out what you need, budget for that, and then again, start paying that back as soon as you possibly can.
Right.
Like, I wish this was told to me not only in grad school, but in undergrad.
Right.
Because again, like you were the first to go to college. I was the first to go to college. Mm-hmm. Yes, my parents were both working, but because of their pay, they didn't qualify for other kind of
Pell Grants
or things of that nature. So not only did I have to take out student loans, but they had to take out a loan on my behalf as well, right? So now we're adding more debt onto a system that's already full of debt, and it's a lot. It's a lot. So if anything, just take out only what you need and start paying it
and
back.
Also understand the options of repayment too.
Yes.
Because as I was telling you guys, I was barely able to afford my $2,200, $2,500 student loan payment. Had I known there were options for my loan payment to be compared to my income, then I could have survived a little bit easier for those first 6 months when I tried to make it work.
Absolutely.
And it lets me know also that they're willing to, they see that the amount of loan plus what you're making isn't equal, so they lower that payment down for you. Mm-hmm. And over time, they will be willing to forgive it if you made your payments on time or things of that nature. Right. But I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. And every time that you change your plan,
it starts all over again. Yeah.
No one explained that to me.
Absolutely.
I didn't understand even when I read those papers because they're in these foreign languages that as a therapist, I can tell you every bone, muscle, and nerve in your body. Mm-hmm. I don't know what these words mean.
Right.
It's not my world. Mm-hmm. And they do that because they're a business. Mm-hmm. They don't want you to understand everything, because if you did, then they wouldn't make as much money.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. So then that goes into like, how much will your monthly payments be?
Right.
What will your interest rates be?
Right.
What would that look like? Again, what's the longevity of you paying back off your student loan? I have one loan.
Tell us about it.
Let me turn.
And
it's a different loan. This isn't my variable loan that I was telling you guys earlier today. This is a completely different loan. It said, because I looked at the statements as far as monthly and how many loan repayments you have to make, 120 monthly payments. Mm-hmm. Not $120. It's 120 payments in order for me to be able to pay it off. 120?
That's 10 years.
That is. Mm-hmm. And so can you imagine having to have multiple student loans from multiple institutions to pay for your schooling, and it's 120 months of repayment?
Right.
How does that look? And how does that make you feel?
Right. I think it was cheaper to buy my house than it was to go to school, by the way. And that light at the end of the tunnel is that my mortgage has gone down. Like, I can visibly see where my payments are going, and my loan that I took for my home has gone down significantly over this time. Mm-hmm. Whereas my student loans, where it was, has now doubled, if not tripled. Mm-hmm. Again, I've been out of school now for 13 years, and I still haven't paid off the loans. I started doing the snowball effect, like Dave Ramsey said, and it worked, right? The first 5 or 6 small loans, and then you hit these big ones, right? $75,000, $100,000. Like, there's never a light at the end of the tunnel.
It seems that way.
And that's what we want you guys to avoid.
Yeah.
Right? Am I upset with it? No, because I chose this. Ultimately, I signed the papers. Mm-hmm. Whether I was given false information or not, it's my life now. I have to deal with it.
You are responsible for
it. So I find my way out. If the president wants to forgive it, please do. Right?
Please.
I'm not going to fight you for it.
Please. Lawmakers, please.
Right.
Forgive it.
I think for some of us that were in this situation of not having, I didn't have good guidance on how to do this financial world with schooling, right? My parents taught me the best they could about personal life. But when you're having to take out thousands of dollars just to get an education, it's a whole nother ballpark.
It is.
And understanding that I didn't need it all, but they said I could take it all, so I took it.
Right. And again, just knowing what are some things smartly that you can do that will help with your schooling and not have this level of burden placed on you. So what are some suggestions or alternatives to student loans? So for me, I like to, let me see how I can word this. So I kind of like to do hair, if you will, primarily braids, because I did mine. And it could be a side hustle, right? So finding something that you can do on the side that will give you some money so you can either pay for books,
right,
pay for your meals,
everything doesn't have to be.
Pay for transportation, your housing, anything like that. And because we live in a world where we have the YouTubers, we have the Instagrammers, we have the TikTokers and all of that. I feel like for you guys, it could be easier for you to have some form of income coming in versus where we were, because we MySpace.
First off, I came up in this world of socializing via the internet.
Tell them.
I don't want to talk to you.
Okay, because you were in the same era as me.
I told y'all last episode.
Right. You were in the same era as me, right. So we had Skype and MySpace. And
I had Facebook in college when it was originally just for college students.
Well, there you go. So how could you have Well, you probably could have.
But I don't even think I don't even think you have to go that route. I think the thing is plan ahead, right? So for me, it was like, I have to get into school and I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get in it. And this person said, you can have this money, I took it all. Versus being mindful of like, okay, I need to be planning out. Do I really need the max on this loan? Or do I just need my tuition and I can get a side job? They suggest not working while you were in grad school. I didn't even try because they said it. But could I have probably worked a few hours on the weekend?
Not me.
Because you said you were procrastinating.
Yeah, not me.
But I'm usually on top of everything. And I work well, I believe, under stress at times. So I think that if I had an option of making a couple $100s on the weekend and going to school, I probably could have done that.
So again, that's an alternative. Working a small gig on the side that's not going to take you away from your studies, but is going to help with your financial
burden.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So those are your options. Again, income repay. If you have a rich uncle, you can call them.
Please.
If your auntie got some money on the side.
Yep.
You know, those are better places to borrow money from than a bank.
Yeah,
who
absolutely.
Doesn't care about you.
Absolutely, because then you have to pay back with interest. Whereas you can go to Uncle Joe and you just pay back how much you're supposed to pay him back.
Right.
So again, okay, so I think now I can safely close out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for tuning in to another Dynamic Joint podcast. Please like and subscribe to our podcast sessions. Do we call these sessions?
You can call them takes?
Like what's the production? Like what's the proper word for it? Like,
why are you looking at me? I'm a therapist. I don't know.
Like, thank you for tuning in to a podcast production episode. Thank you for tuning into another podcast episode. Got the right lingo, because I'm a therapist. I can say shoulder flexion all day.
Right.
But not knowing episode versus production versus session.
It doesn't matter. We're going to wrap up here. We appreciate you guys. And the next episodes are going to be even funnier and more knowledgeable, right? Because we have stories to tell.
Lots of it. So again, make sure you like and subscribe so you can continue to tune in to another Dynamic Joint episode. Close it out. Are we going to beatbox? Let's try to beatbox again.
I don't want to beatbox. You can beatbox and sing.
I can't do all of that.
Do the throat thing like Dougie Fresh.
I can't. Fricka.
Thanks, guys.